So you might be getting targeted these guru ads for high ticket closer or inbound closer. And you're probably like, is this a real business or career? And if it's so easy, why doesn't everyone do it? So two quick answers to that. Yes, it's really real. And second, it's hard as f. So this video is actually for the newbies. We're going to be talking about how to kickstart your career as an inbound closer, high ticket sales, whatever you want to call it. We're diving into how to kickstart your career. And in this video, I'll be documenting some of the tactical things that I did to transition from a pharmacist to an inbound closer to eventually high ticket sales consulting as well. And soon I'll be building out my own high ticket programs. And in this video, I'll be documenting the tactical strategies that how I transitioned from pharmacist to inbound closer as well. And I did this with no experience. Also in this video, I'm going to be talking about how I transitioned into high ticket sales consulting and eventually how I'm building out my high ticket programs too. And so if you are struggling getting your first client and you don't have any experience, we're diving into it right now. So back in 2018, late August, that is when I started my career as a high ticket closer. Keep in mind, I was a pharmacy manager for about 3 to 5 years. And then I've been in the whole pharmacy industry for at least 12 years. Even though I was really interested at the time in digital marketing and all this sort of stuff, I never heard of the career of high ticket closing or high ticket sales as well. And if you're wondering what's the difference between high ticket closing, high ticket sales, inbound closing, they're all the same thing. If you're wondering what a high ticket closer is, Patrick Dang gives a really great definition. He says, an inbound closer is an employee or contractor whose role it is to close deal with warm leads. A company will typically have its way to generate leads, whether it's from outbound prospecting, running paid traffic and ads, or joint ventures. Once those leads enter sales funnel, prospects will have an opportunity to speak with someone, and that's where the inbound closer comes into play. If you ever read the books .com Secrets or Expert Secrets, Russell Brunson talks about this high ticket products as well and how that funnel works. So if you're wondering what do high ticket closers sell, I actually talk about it in my other video breaking down the pros and cons of a high ticket closer. But from a high level, inbound closing may include selling products and services or offers through the phone. Sometimes it could include coaching, consulting, info products, and marketing services that people want to pay for. And to become a really great inbound closer, there's a lot of adjacent skill sets you need to have when selling over the phone. For example, you need to understand the full sales cycle, buyer psychology, customer journey, how to run sales meetings, identifying pains, discovery, presenting your product and services, and eventually how to overcome objections to eventually close the deal. Now, typically high ticket closing or high ticket sales might have a bad reputation just because there's a lot of guru courses out there that kind of promise these big promises and they underdeliver. But especially in the B2C world, what you'll find is that people are willing to pay for these services. They just want to find the right person to fulfill it. There's a true need within their business or personal life. And then ideally your product, service, or offering, whatever you're offering, plugs in that gap and helps them to get where they need to be. It's like the current state, future state, and the gap that we're filling in with our solution, if that makes sense. Now, in theory, it sounds all great, but if you're a new closer, you're probably facing the same problem that I first experienced too. It's like, I have zero experience in this field of high ticket programs, high ticket sales. So how do I get a client? And typically it can feel like running into a chicken versus egg conundrum. Business owners, agencies, they don't want to hire you because you have no experience because they're paying for the leads. But how do you get experience if you are not given a chance as well? And more importantly, if you don't have a client, you're not closing deals, you're technically not a closer. And if you are facing this problem, the core problem is that you just don't know how to add value to your client. And don't worry, I was here too. I had to figure out a lot of this through trial and error. So I'm really here to help. And so maybe you that's watching this, you sent out tons of outreach videos to your clients, but you're just wondering, what is the real effective use of my time, especially when everyone's doing the same thing? And who wants to go down the route of trial and error? So like I said, I went through the exact pain points as this. It's not easy. You want to dive into high ticket closing or inbound closing, but you just don't have a real opportunity. So what I wanted to share is the exact steps I took to get experience so that I could have an opportunity to scale my first client from 6 to 8 figures. Pretty crazy, right? So if you're curious about how I built up a network of clients, how did I transition into high ticket sales consulting, and how did I get to speak as an expert authority within less than 2 to 3 years, hey, listen up. And if you're new to this channel, what's up? My name is Kevin. I'm actually a former pharmacist, YouTuber, and entrepreneurial guide, not guru. And on this channel, we explore the people, the strategies, the tools to help us live a happier, productive, kick-ass life as well. Frequently on this channel, I talk about everything from productivity to personal development to entrepreneurship as well, like digital marketing and high ticket sales. So if you're into that, consider subscribing to this channel. But in today's video, I break down exactly how I became a high ticket closer or inbound closer without any experience. And make sure to stick to the end because I got a special gift for y'all as well. All right, step number 1. Build a network of business owners. All right, chances are if you don't have any new clients, then you probably need to work on your relationships. No, I'm not talking about your clubbing friends, your going out friends. I'm talking about your business relationships. Now, obviously, do you absolutely need business relationships to get your first client? No, you can go the old fashioned route, type in high ticket closer, inbound closer, account executive, all these terms as well on Upwork, Dynamite Jobs, and Indeed. But the truth is the best opportunities come from referral only, meaning the best opportunities come from word of mouth and they don't even hit those job boards as well. I mean, let's be very, very real. It takes a lot of time applying to these things. And oftentimes when you do apply to these opportunities, you hear nothing. It's just crickets, right? So the only problem is that this takes a lot of time to build, but it pays dividends as well. To this day, I actually 100% work off referrals. I don't apply to jobs or anything like that. It's all referral only. And within my circle of friends, they know me as the high ticket program guy or high ticket sales guy, the person that they can absolutely trust. And that's how I started transitioning just from getting high ticket closing gigs to building out my agency and getting consulting clients as well. And so believe it or not, one of my first clients came from my YouTube videos. They really liked my vibe. They knew that I did high ticket closing and whatnot. So that was one of my first clients as well. The second client that I ever got was actually through referral. It was one of these like ClickFunnels, 2Comma Club. I know some people feel some type of way about it, but that's actually how I got my first experience. And that was through a warm referral that I met through another friend. And then another time, I actually took a high ticket program on how to build a kick-ass high ticket program. And one of the owners came up to me and was like, hey, we need a high ticket closers for our high ticket program. Can you help us? And my most recent client, it was actually a warm referral through a friend that I met in LA. He used to follow my blog and we used to chop it up. And he had a friend who needed closing services and needed help with that. And he actually became my first consulting client. So you might be wondering, well, Kevin, I don't have a YouTube channel. I don't have this. I don't have that. How do I build really great relationships? And I think the first thing is being able to join a great community of this. We have a lot of opportunities like Clubhouse and all that. You can join smaller groups. And the key is not to ask anything from them. You don't ask them if they need a closer. Really, at the end of the day, you want to add value first. But what does that really mean? And I think a lot of time, especially when everybody's trying to pitch their services to you, genuine interest in people and just wanting to build a relationship, a non-conditional relationship, actually goes really far. When you do that, a lot of times people will just rave about your services, even though they've never even used your services because they know your personality as a person. As you know, business is a very, very small world. So even if someone can't take you on as a client, they will refer you to others. They essentially become your biggest marketing team. And that's really easy, just leveraging a network where people can refer you as well. Keep in mind, I built these relationships through just doing cold emails and being like, hey, I love your content on this. This helped me with that. You know, I love to connect and chop it up if you can. And just to let you know, not all relationships will be open to that, but that's okay. You just need a few. And after you develop your first core few friends, you can then go to that network and just be like, hey, is there anybody like that you feel like I would get along with really well in terms of business? And then that's how you start growing. And then inevitably, you're going to get referrals that way as well. So keep in mind, I started building my relationships in 2018 with my business relationships. Clients didn't start flowing until 2019, where I had to actually turn down a lot of my clients as well. So that's the first thing. So step 2, offer set deals. So this comes to a point where, you know, sometimes you meet someone, you're talking about your scope of work for your projects, and they find out that you don't have any experience at all. One of the things I highly suggest is that you don't lie. You be very upfront about your experience in terms of this engagement as well. I'm always very, very transparent about my experience. I tell people, hey, I have 2 or 3 years of high ticket sales. I'm not one of those OGs of 20 plus years. I've scrapped with them. Like I have results to kind of back that up and references to have people talk about me and my services that I gave. But, if you're looking for an OG, that's not me. And that actually builds a lot of trust with people. But chances are you're watching this, you don't have any experience at all. And so sometimes you just gotta build the relationship as well. And it was really funny because I got this one comment from this viewer. I got, hey, I put in heavy work, but I'm still lost. I need direction. I talked to many influencers and they kept on asking me for prior experience, which I failed to fill their needs. All I could do is take action. And so I asked this guy, hey, how did you respond to them? And when they asked you about your experience, and he said, I told them, although I don't have any previous experience, I am someone who can bring the results that you need. What's more important to you? Experience or someone who can bring results to the highest level of your company to a new height? Then they said, next, right? And I feel somewhat horrible about it, even though I tried to solve a complex problem. I never closed for a real company before. The only experience I had from closing is role play with other members of High Ticket Closer, which is a program by Dan Lok. And I responded like this. I was like, hey, first of all, kudos, man. Like major props for being open and honest about your experience. That goes a long way. But you're missing a major point. As a business owner, I'm thinking about how are you going to bring results with no previous track record? I can't just take you on your word. And so what I said was people are not going to trust you at face value, especially if you don't have experience. It's hard to trust you if I'm paying money for leads as well, right? Because leads aren't always free. Sometimes you're using paid media and all that. And it could be easily $300, $400 per lead that you get on the phone. And so the real question that you need to ask is, hey, in terms of your business, what are some of the biggest priorities right now? Going back to their main goals, right? This is part of closing 101, like understanding the core need and what the real concern is, the core problem. Then you cater a solution to them and build trust with time. This is closing 101. Like I said, you aren't simply given something. You must solve the root problem and become a problem solver. That is closing and food for thought. So sometimes you can do this in several ways. You can cold call their leads and all that sort of stuff where it mitigates the risk and you're building the relationship with time. But in my opinion, this is kind of outside the scope of your work, because as a business owner, I'm thinking about, hey, if I put this person on, there's no track record of this person converting leads ever, and I'm really concerned. So this is where setting deals comes into play as well. I teach this in my one-on-one coaching programs and whatnot, but learning how to set deals first. So I want you to imagine this. You are a business and you might have a really top-notch closer, right? But they are spending times with like time wasters, tire kickers, whatever you want to call them. They're pretty much unqualified people that don't know about your product or brand or anything like that. And they're wasting time with the top converting people. Well, if you offer to set instead, think about it like this. You are filtering the top funnel and you are setting up the deal, getting the finances, the goals, and all that sort of stuff. So you can hand it off to a closer where they can convert, where they would be normally wasting time. If you are setting their deals, the closers, the top performing closers, can spend more time converting their deals, which means more profitability for the company as well. And believe it or not, I actually love setting. Setting is actually better ROI on your time. And in fact, you can make more money than a closer if the funnel is really good because of your ROI on time. Typically, it takes about maybe hour to hour and a half to close a deal. But by setting a deal, you're maxing out at like 30 minutes tops, right? Setting will also allow you to practice and develop the experience to have hard conversations about like redirection, focusing the conversation, talking about money on the phone too. And you'll learn how to finesse financial positioning. Believe it or not, I did this for the first 6 to 8 months of my closing career. All I did was really set deals. I got really good at it. And then it teaches you how to be better and finesse the phone calls as well. Any sort of time on the phone will help you get better as well. But if you don't know how a sales process works, hey, check out my free masterclass on kaizenclosing.com/masterclass. I'll leave it in a link below. But basically that that's my free resource on breaking down how a real sales process works. So check that out. But like I said, most business owners will be more willing to let you set deals than actually close them yourself. So it's a great way to understand the offer first before closing and all that, and you just build up your rep time as well. Now, step 3, after you get your foot in the door, you can leverage the experience and relationships with other closers. Now, you might be thinking, like, I need to make more relationships with business owners and all that. But the truth is, sometimes the best recommendations come from other closers. There's so many times where I've hired and also referred deals and opportunities to my friends, the people that I work with that I would trust handling that client as well. So whenever I needed a closing gig, I could just reach out to a few friends. They'd be like, hey, there's this opportunity, this opportunity, this opportunity. Are you interested? And I would actually have a selection of that. And as you build your experience on the phone, you can actually charge for something like consulting. So after getting my first few years of experience scaling a business from 6 to 8 figures, I realized that I could take this experience and help smaller businesses out as well by implementing processes, tools, and all that sort of stuff. Now, this is very advanced and most closers probably aren't good at it, but if you're more like process oriented like me, if you're techie and you can figure out that aspect, then this can be actually very scalable for you. But it only came after delivering results and really building a reputation for myself. I had more and more friends who were coming up to me that already had existing salespeople in place, but they needed help with profitability, optimizing the process, and that's where I came in too. And so at that point, I wasn't charging my time instead of closing. I was charging for the impact of the assets for a retainer or top line revenue as well. So again, leveraging your network with other closers can really, really help. So keep in mind, these are kind of like the 3 ways that I built up my relationships. I got more opportunities as well. Don't be like that other person that I was showing you who was doing the same thing over and over and over again, guys. Think outside the box, build more relationships. It's more of a long-term play, but trust me, it's very worth it if you do that as well. And believe me, you don't need tons of years to develop an expert authority. You just need the rep times and just build a reputation for yourself. For example, in less than 3 years, I was able to speak on a virtual summit on an expert panel for high ticket programs and high ticket closing as well. Now, do I feel like an expert? No, but it's honestly opened a lot more opportunities for me in order to get more clients and all that as well. So chances are, if you like this video, then you're probably going to really like my video on what is high ticket closing? What are the pros and cons? I'll leave in the cards up here. And probably you'll be interested in my video on how to become a high ticket closer without any experience. These are my go-to videos on my channel for high ticket closing. I would recommend that you watch it. And if you're more into the tactical, maybe you're like, I know I want to do high ticket closing too. I have a masterclass, kaizenclosing.com/masterclass. In the masterclass, I talk about how to build a high ticket program and how to sell a high ticket program. And I also offer the coaching services that I have in my program as well. But go through the masterclass first. I want to make sure that the people who want to do this are absolutely committed to doing this as well. Finally, if you're interested in less high ticket closing, you want more things about productivity, personal development, and entrepreneurship, then consider signing up to my email list, refugeehustle.com/join. You'll really like the content on there. Anyways, thank you for watching. Stay bold, stay kick-ass. Peace.